I have 7 days left in the month, and I don't know what to read. So I've decided to continue my TBR game, picking my reads for like a week style videos. I've done 2 on my channel. I did Becca's Spookopathon, and then I did my TBR game. But of course, I'm kind of out of TBR games currently, so I'm calling up a friend. I called up Books with Lexie, and I said, "Can I play your TBR game?" And she said, "Sure." So she's gonna do some rolls for me, and I'm gonna pick my reads, and we're gonna have a weekly reading vlog of me playing Escape the TBR.
Hello, welcome to Escape the TBR, Cassidy's version. Here is my house layout. All of the rooms mean different genres. In Cassidy's version, red is horror, orange is fantasy, green is indie fantasy, blue is sci-fi, purple is fantasy romance, and yellow is a free genre. Also in Cassidy's version, instead of being haunted by ghosts, we're haunted by Winston. Starting in the red horror room and making our way around to hopefully escape out of fantasy. 2 of the 3 dice being doubles means the interior door is unlocked. Otherwise, it is determined by these cards over here. Roll 1. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Door is unlocked. 11. So any genre, debut author.
I'm just getting home from lunch with my sister. We decided to go for ramen, and we are nothing if not creatures of habit, and we go to the same ramen place pretty much every single time. We are like, let's go for lunch, because you just cannot beat it. It's so good. Like, just like look at how good and juicy that these bowls look. I got Hokkaido miso. It's my favorite. And then we ended up going to the mall to check out a few things. We ended up getting Purdy's chocolate, which I think could be a Canadian thing because they're made in Vancouver, BC, I believe. These are Himalayan pink salt peanut butter chocolates. So I don't know if you can see, like, in there's like salt on the chocolate, and inside is like peanut butter, like almost like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but like creamier and smoother, and then there's salt on the outside, and they're really delicious. I also got a caramel version, but the peanut butter ones are the best, and like my family goes wild for these. They only come out around Christmas. So yeah, I bought a few. But I have started Dreams of the Dying as my debut author because we were in any genre. Pretty sure this is a debut author. If it's not, don't come for me. I've already read it for the video, and it is what it is. I'm only on chapter 3, which is about 50 pages in, so like not very far because this is a pretty long one. I'm scared. I don't know how I feel about this one. It is what it is. Escape the TBR is just already doing me dirty. I had to read this anyways because it is Erin's book club pick, and I am co-hosting the Busy Bee book club this month. I'm listening to the audiobook, so like I might need to change to physical because I'm just finding it so easy to just like zone out and not pay attention. We're getting a lot of just like random facts about the world that like don't feel like they're needed. I often like my first couple chapters to really get me emotionally invested into a character, and then the world building can go from there. We're just like traveling, and he'd be like, oh, look at this plant that's like blank and blank and blank and blank, and I'm like, that's going in one ear and out the other ear. Like, it wasn't important and enough of a detail, and I think we're gonna have like a very wordy world building style. And although I'm a world building girly, it has to like work and flow. And I'm sorry for this really crappy lighting. I realize the sun is like directly on me. I should be reading, but I'm watching the live stream of the concert to figure out if Reputation is going to be announced tonight. I'm back on my bagel bullshit. I love bagels. Bagel with cream cheese, some kind of like salami style meat, and cucumber. Delicious. Normally I have a tomato, but we don't have any good tasting tomatoes right now. And then a little bit of sesame seeds and some garlic powder and some salt and pepper sprinkled on top. This is to die for me. But I did just want to hop in here and say like a big thank you for 8K. I did reach 8K last night. It's been a goal of mine for the year. It's really exciting that I hit it, and just like thanks to all of you, because if you didn't stick around and watch my content and comment down below and just like hang out with me all the time, this channel would not be as successful as it is. And because it's so successful, I can prioritize it so much more than I could before. And so like just like really truly thank you. But we also have a book to update you on. I'm 31% into Dreams of the Dying, and I'm struggling. There are some cool elements to this. I think some of the dream magic is cool, but it's lost for me in this really slow, character-driven but dry narrative style. I want to say that I'm supposed to really care about the characters because it feels like we've spent time with them and we've learned little things about them. However, I don't. I really truly just like don't care about them, and that's just like not it. The narrative style for me is just something that's like really not working. I've had to slow down my audiobook slower than I normally would listen to it, and I just am really struggling. If this wasn't a book club book, I would be DNFing. I'm gonna try and get a little bit more of the way through. As I said, there are some interesting things, but I think I could easily put this down and not care how it ends, how the story goes at all. I have made it to 65% through. I have really mixed feelings about this one. I think that there's some really cool elements that I really like. I mean, I like the dream magic. However, it's just lost in this slow, character-driven narrative style that isn't working for me. I do not care about the characters in any way. There's like this weird love triangle thing that feels so pointless. To me, it feels like we needed the characters to care about each other. So instead of making them like really good friends and building character development that way, we just started sleeping with them, because then you automatically understand why they'd want to do things to save each other and why their motivations would change because they're sleeping together, so they like each other. That's just how I feel about that character development. I don't actually understand why they would give up their motivations to help each other. Like, they don't feel like people who care about each other to me, really. There's also just so much happening within this story. There is this magic system that hasn't really fully been explained, but it's really expansive, and there's like lots of different types of magic, but like I wish I knew it better. There's all these different cultures that we've slowly like heard hints about, but we've not really learned. There's this political plot that's happening. There is our main character's like mystery past. Like, there's so many elements that are happening, but I feel like we've just done all of them okay and none of them great, personally, and I'm really just like struggling with that. I could just turn this book off and not care how it ends, but I'm also not hating it, so I don't really know where that leaves me. I should tell you what this book is about. We're following a main character who, for some reason, is asked to, like, save the king. The motivations for that also unclear to me. I don't understand why he was asked. It made no sense. It was very flimsy. The king has fallen into a deep sleep. No one knows why he won't wake up, and he's slowly dying. There is dream magic within this world, so we go on a quest to find someone who can enter the king's dreams and figure out what is wrong with him. And that is the whole plot, essentially, of this entire story, and it's 700 pages long. It just feels like it could have been 200 pages long. I've decided to give this one 3 stars. I have nothing else to say. I think everything I've said throughout this vlog holds up to what I feel about the ending. There are some interesting things, but it's lost in the sauce. If you want to know more detailed thoughts, there will be a live show on Erin's channel. I will link that down below once it's scheduled or once it's up, and then you'll be able to see it. But Erin will be linked in the description, so you can always just go to Erin's channel. I love Erin a lot. Her channel is one of my favorites to watch. I'm really excited she asked me to be a part of this. I think we will have some really interesting discussions just because there's so much to it, and I think that is a positive and a negative of the story for me. Although I did really, really like some parts, I also really didn't like other parts, so I feel like a 3-star is just an overall acceptable rating. But I stand by the fact that I really never cared how this book ended, so it didn't like emotionally impact me at all, and it definitely won't be a book you see constantly recommended on my channel. I still need to escape the haunted house, so let's see what Lexie rolls for me.
Roll 2, 12 with doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fantasy romance with multiple points of view.
I just ordered Starbucks because I was lazy, so I Uber Eats'd it to my house, which is the sign of pure laziness in my opinion, but I'm also here for it. It's iconic, amazing. Starbucks is just everything I could ever ask for. I've been really obsessed with the chai. I did try the gingerbread chai, but I didn't love it, and they still have pumpkin chai, so I got a pumpkin chai. I get mine half sweet, and then I add espresso to it, so this is 2 shots of espresso. In my opinion, it's like the perfect sweet drink. It's so good. For our second roll in Escape the TBR, which I am wearing my like Escape the Readathon merch today because it felt fitting. I decided to pick up a sequel and a book that I knew that the first book had multi-POVs, so I'm pretty sure the second book will, because with fantasy romance it can be hit or miss whether the guy has a POV or not, specifically in that first book. I picked up A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty by Stasia Stark, which is the sequel to A Court This Cruel and Lovely, which I read in my last fantasy romance vlog. This book took me on a roller coaster because it was so not good but good. In my opinion, this is the perfect I just want something fun story. I think it's filled with your typical archetypes and tropes, and the plot twists are things we've seen in the most popular fantasy romance stories. I think that if you've read one fantasy romance, you've read this story's plotline. However, I'm invested in the plot. I'm invested in the characters. I love the chemistry that these two have together, and I loved it from day one. At times, this story makes me cringe so hard because, like, who says these things? But I'm also laughing and loving and blushing and like having such a good time listening to them. The way they feel and think and talk about each other just like it gets me. So like, yes, I don't think that this is the best literature I've ever read, specifically in this genre, but I'm having fun with it, and I think that makes me so excited to pick up the second book. I picked it up this morning. My plan is to binge it. I'm only like 3 chapters in. The first book follows our main character who lives in a world where everyone gets power from the gods, but as a baby, the king's enforcers come and take that power away, and then when you turn 25, you get that power back. They're trying to weed out the people that they call the cursed. Essentially, if you still have power during that time, you will end up being killed because you are cursed and polluted. It means the gods didn't want your power when you were a baby, and it's just like this whole thing. A lot of people are murdered, and obviously our main character is someone who I think I want to say she's like 22, 23, because she's getting close to 25 at the beginning of this, but I'm not 100% sure. She reads a little bit younger in my opinion. She kept her abilities, so she needs to somehow escape before they figure out that she is cursed and polluted, and then she makes her way to this group of guys. From there, we learned so much more, and I loved it, and I'm really excited to see what book 2 holds for me. It's a sequel, so like, I can't say too much, but I will just like express my feelings throughout the rest of this vlog. I am just here to tell you that I am an absolute sucker for a nickname that is an animal. In this story, he calls her Wildcat, and it gets me every single time. And I can name quite a few of my favorite fantasy romance that have an animal name. I think the main ones being that in Serpent of the Wings of Night, he calls her Serpent, and then in Flame and Sparrow, he calls her Sparrow. And I died every single time, and I die every single time he says Wildcat as well. I don't know what really works for me. I'm not normally like a pet name kind of person. Like, I don't like baby girl or anything like that, but give me an animal and ugh, so good. This is so random because I've been talking to you about binging this book, and I'm about to go get a haircut. This was not planned at all. My hairdresser retired. She decided to be a stay-at-home mom, but she's also a really big photo client of mine. I've done her family photos, her wedding photos, everything like that. I hate finding a new hairdresser, so we kind of just trade services now. She has no business, but she just cuts my hair for free, and I promo her photo shoots. So this weekend, I have her for another maternity photo shoot because she's actually pregnant again. We were just discussing it, and I was talking about how I wanted to do something different with my hair, and she said, come on by, let's give you a haircut. So I am gonna go shower because obviously my hair cannot be in a bun, and I'm gonna go get a haircut, which makes it harder for me to binge this all today, but I'm excited still. We are back from my haircut, so it just got a little bit shorter, and then we obviously added a bang. I don't know how I feel about it. I make drastic changes a lot, and I try to tell myself it's just hair. So when I feel the need to do something, I just do it. That's how my hair ended up pink, and I cried for 2 weeks when it was pink. I did not like it. It led me to having hair that I ended up really loving when I dyed it again. So I'm unsure how I feel about it, but I also think it's gonna grow out really nicely into these like longer style bangs, because bangs grow really quickly. So I'm just vibing with it at this moment in time. I'm going to just like see how I feel over the next couple days. Not that I can do anything about it. I'm cold, I'm putting a sweater on. I have, however, made it 50% into our book, and I'm liking it so far. I definitely liked book 1 better, but that's like because of what book 2s in a fantasy romance series always are. Book 1 is this like setup of getting to know our characters and this like fun new relationship, and then at the end of book 1 in a fantasy romance, there's always some sort of betrayal. Like, it just is the way fantasy romance works. And then book 2, they have to learn to trust each other again. Typically, book 2 just doesn't work as well for me as book 1. Book 2s often also expand the plot quite a bit, and for a story like this where I'm in it for the 2 characters, sometimes I get uninterested in the plot. I will say, I think this one does its plot really well. It is no like really different plot, but what it does, it's doing well. And there's a reason those tropes and those archetypes are done again and again and again. I think that this story is really showcasing that fact, which I really enjoy. We have a third POV within this one as well, and I'm really liking the third POV. I think it's adding to the expansiveness of the story. We just met a brother, and in my opinion, whenever there's a brother introduced into a story, I am always down for it. I think sibling dynamics are such an interesting and complex situation to add to a story, and I truly eat them up every single time. Specifically, a brother who's going to tease the other brother about the love interest, so I'm really hoping we get that, but I'm not sure because both these brothers seem very stoic. Overall though, I am impressed. I'm not wanting to turn this off. I'm really wanting to binge, and I'm sad when I do have to turn it off to do other things. I'm really close to being done this one, and I did just want to say before I am done it and give you like my final thought that I really have been liking this story's take on mates. They do have a mate, they do have someone who's like their other half, but it's not someone that you have to be with. People don't always go to their mates, they don't always stay with their mates forever. It is kind of just the gods telling you that this person would be perfect for you, but that's not saying someone else out there won't be also really good for you, which I kind of thought was really interesting take on it, and I'm enjoying that so far. I'm really close to being done. I think I have about an hour of listening time left. I finished A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty. I did not love this one as much as the first one. I think it loses some of its charm just because of what it is. What I loved about the first one is how trope heavy it was and how much fun I had bantering and seeing the chemistry between our two love interests. And this one definitely becomes a more focus on the bigger plotline and the storyline. And although I still found that interesting, I just wasn't as in it for that as I was for the cringy, swoon-worthy moments in the last one. Now, I still plan on finishing this out. I think there's 4 books, so I'm halfway through. I feel like it's just such a good mindless book. Like, I just put this on and I binge it and I listen to it while doing things, and I feel like I'm still understanding the story. I never feel like I'm missing out on things, and I'm having a good time. One of my big complaints about this is the other characters. You are truly supposed to care about some other characters within the story. Sometimes I don't really know who they are that well. There are a few that I do know, but for the most part, when they say a name, I'm like, wait, who is that again? And I have to think about it. I just overall enjoy my time with it, and I like the audiobook. I'll be continuing. I can't wait to see where this cliffhanger takes us. Now, we are gonna go back in time a little bit. I did start reading the next book a few days ago, so you will see me pre-haircut and then again post-haircut. I really didn't get far into it. Take it away, past Cassidy. And past Lexie, because she rolled for me in the past.
Roll 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another fantasy romance that Patreon picks.
New location unlocked. This is the corner of the room that I never have any idea what to do with. It kind of cycles around what it's gonna be. There's a wall right here and there's a wall literally right here. It's like just big enough for like a really tiny desk. I used to also have a chair in here with like a little bit of shelves. It's kind of cycled through different things I wanted it to be over the years. Right now it's kind of just an empty desk. Not sure what it's gonna be because I have like a real desk out in my like office space. I figured I wanted to annotate our next read, so I set it up to be like an annotation station for myself today. And let's unbox. I did put a poll up on Patreon. Before I went to bed, I decided to order the 2 that were kind of winning, thinking that they'd probably stay winning, and then whatever one won, I would be able to read. Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Schuwer? I don't know how to say that. Very excited to get to both of these. Actually, what won my poll by a landslide is Powerless, so I'll be reading this one tonight. And then I got a couple stickers for annotating. I ordered these holographic stars, and they are bigger than I thought that they would be, but I still think that they're gonna be cute to add to things. And then I also ordered these, but they're also bigger than I thought they would be, and I don't know if these work bigger, so I'm a little nervous about them. I also do have a annotation Amazon storefront list. If you are interested in getting anything, I do get a commission off of you using my links. It is down below in the description box. I have all like my tabs, my highlighters, and I will also be adding these. I also have a fantasy romance favorites list as well up there. I am about 50 pages in, so I'm not super far in. However, I'm really enjoying this. It's definitely YA. It reads YA. Like, the writing is YA writing. It's a little cringe at times, but the banter is bantering. Like, even the friendship banter, our main male character is bantering with his brother. I love that. So, like, just loving that, I know when our characters get together, I'm also going to love their banter. Their personalities are really working for me and shining. I mean, there's a lot of Hunger Games nods in this. Like, it is very much like the Hunger Games, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed the Hunger Games, and I don't think a fighting pit is unique to the Hunger Games. But obviously the Hunger Games made a really big impact on us, especially my generation. It is easy to compare to the Hunger Games, but the Hunger Games takes a well-loved trope and makes it into something just, like, bigger than it was. It's like how every vampire romance is compared to Twilight for me now. Like, was Twilight the first vampire romance? No, but it impacted me so heavily that it's just what happens. I will update you in a bit. I have a feeling you're gonna get some squealing, crying, throwing up. This is so cute and adorable, and I love them moments from me. I'm really excited to get back to reading and annotating. This book is absolutely Hunger Games coded. This feels like somebody read Hunger Games and Red Queen and wrote a fanfic about it, and I'm not hating it. Like, I'm not mad about it in any way. I'm eating this story up. It is cringy YA. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I love it. And you probably can't tell, but I'm tabbing so many good banter moments, like so many good banter moments. Our main character, to die for. If you don't already know, this story follows our main character. I'm going to sit down, hold on. This story follows our main character who grows up in the slums in a world where being powerless means a death sentence. In this world there was a plague, and a lot of people who survived the plague were given magical abilities and powers. Some people weren't, but a lot of those ordinary people died off. Now, the current king thinks the ordinaries are a threat to his reign, so he kills off every ordinary to ever exist. He's hunting them down, and our main character happens to be an ordinary, trained to pretend that she has a power. Enter what they call the Purging Trials, which is a grand show put on by the king to show the might of the people who have power, to give the people who live in the slums a little bit of hope, because you can maybe be chosen to fight in the Purging Trials, and if you win, you are granted a whole lot of money. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Now, the Red Queen part of this comes in with two brothers, who I absolutely adore. I feel like this is a lot more romance-based than The Hunger Games is. I do think The Hunger Games has heavy romantic themes, but I think those are used to carry the story forward, where I feel like the story carries the romance forward in this one, if that makes sense. But we have two brothers who are the princes. One prince is the older prince, and he's going to be the heir to the kingdom, so he, of course, is not allowed to participate in the Purging Trials because they cannot risk him. But his younger brother can, and he's also the enforcer, and he has been trained his entire life to be the person to kill off the ordinaries, and to do it because he has a very special ability where he can use other people's abilities, and he can sense what they are, so he can sense when someone doesn't have abilities. And of course, him and Peyton meet. Peyton is our female character, and they're both chosen to be in the Purging Trials, and things happen, and there's like a ballroom scene that we're currently in. There's such good banter between both Kai and Peyton, but also the brother Kit, the other prince. I love the scenes with him, and I think we might have some good found family aspect eventually into this, and there are some good politics, I think, that are at play. I do enjoy, like, the world building is flimsy, but I'm enjoying what it is, and I always love what a story like this truly means, why I love The Hunger Games so much, Divergent, things like that, where we're talking about giving hope to a dystopian society, and how one of the most dangerous things in a dystopian society is a lack of hope, but also you can't give them too much hope, and it's like a really thin line that has to be walked. If they don't have any hope, they will revolt, but if they have too much hope, they will also revolt, and I think that it's just going to be an interesting storyline, even if it is very much The Hunger Games. I mean, there are Hunger Games exact scenes from this. There is the interviews. There is the interview lady is literally known for her hair color and what she wears. We have a person that comes to be her seamstress. There is some definitely Hunger Games coded things in here, but also I'm eating it up and I don't really care. This book, honestly, has no right being this addicting. Like, no right being this addicting. It's like not good, but I love it. And that's all I gotta say. I have a problem. Because I said earlier that this reminds me of The Hunger Games meets Red Queen, I did some researching, and I'm pretty sure the author is a lover of both of those series. And if you've read Red Queen, Maven Kalor. I'm a little scared of what that means for this story, though. Because there's 2 brothers. And one is being quite set up for a Maven Kalor arc. But also, it's like 1 a.m. and I can't stop reading this. I literally just wrote an annotation that just said, I love this fucking book. Let me show it to you. Look at that bad boy. Look at all of these tabs. There's so many of them, and most of them are cute or banter. I honestly do not think this is good literature. I will not be recommending this to someone as like, this is such a well-rounded story. It's well-balanced. The plot, the characters, amazing, incredible. But like, I'm having the best time. Even though probably a lot of insta love is happening, I just like can't get over the lines. Like, the lines are lining to me. Like, the cute moments are everything. The banter is everything. I even kind of like the powers, and I love watching like a trial. So like the Hunger Game idea really works for me, and seeing them like have to protect each other. Like, I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. Ugh. So yeah, if you're just willing to have fun, this could be it. So I finished this about 5 hours ago, and I'm just kind of existing at this point. I don't know how to move on with my life. I don't know how to go forward past this moment in time without the sequel. Last year, I was probably a stickler on what I gave 5 stars, and there was a lot of 4 stars that, looking back, I feel like could have been 5 stars. And this year, I've really been prioritizing my enjoyment, and that's why I made a weighted spreadsheet for myself, and this did get 5 stars on that, which I told myself I wasn't going to give it 5 stars because there's some problems. This is not the book that I would recommend to someone to understand my reading taste. This is the guilty pleasure read that I enjoyed so thoroughly and will recommend to people if they're looking for something like that. But I don't know how to. I just want book 2. I feel like this has left me in the same hangover that Fourth Wing left me in. I just like don't want to read anything because I want to go back and experience more with these characters again. I do think that it was insta-lovey, it was trope heavy, the plot has some plot holes, not everything makes sense, all of that, but like I loved hanging out with these 2. I loved rooting for them, knowing that they won't be together. From like pretty much the 2nd chapter, you know that the betrayal at the end of this book is going to be something that is going to be like impossible to come back from. How do you come back from a betrayal like that? Because you know who she is and who he is and what that really means and how they can never be together. And like, it just set it up so well because I, too, knew that they couldn't be together. And I sat there rooting for them the entire time. It still hit me hard. The betrayal still hit me hard. And I just want to be with them again. I want to relive the blueberry scene. There is a scene in here where she's all like, tell me something about yourself. And he goes, I hate blueberries. Now tell me something about yourself. And she goes, I love blueberries. Just to spite him. And then he brings her blueberries one morning and it's so cute. And their enemies to lovers is like, it is enemies to lovers in some ways, but not. And I'm literally debating like watching High School Musical or something because I just want to be in that like feeling again, the feeling of rooting for a couple and like cringe and just be like, oh, so cute. And like, I don't know what got into me this year, but I cannot wait for book 2 at all. I wish I had it right now. This is Red Queen with Hunger Games nods, because it's not the Hunger Games. Like, it's not just you're put into a pit and you're fighting to be the last one standing. It is more about, like, trials, and, like, those fully sometimes didn't 100% make sense to me and why they did things that they did, but there are nods to the Hunger Games throughout this entire story. I just loved being with Peyton and Kai and Kit. If I could go back, I would have a Kit tab because I really, really loved Kit. I did end up tabbing quite a bit. This was my little guide to tabbing. There's a lot of cute moments and a lot of banter moments in here. I definitely loved the banter. I mean, like, your name is Malachi? Yes, well, I've also been called devilishly handsome, devastatingly powerful, and most recently, a cocky bastard. Whoever called you that must have known you quite well. Yes, more than I care to admit. And, like, she's the one who called him that. Like, Like, it was so good. It was so good in this ending. I just, like, I don't know where this story goes from here. Well, I do, and I'm ready, and I'm excited to see it happen. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna read again, but, let's see what Lexie rolls.
Roll 4. 10 and doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A fantasy that Winston picked. So Winston is my cat. So that means this has to be a Mickey pick.
Nick is holding the cat for us.
Oh, look how excited he is already. He's trying to get out.
We have Skullsworn on one, the Golden Enclaves on the other.
Rob is also interested.
Ralph, this is
Jarl's
not.
just getting angry because he knows Ralph's gonna beat him.
This is not your time to shine.
Come here, Ralph.
3, 2, 1, go! Good pick.
Now your next book picking, you will be Nick crawling on the floor.
I think I like my bangs up. I think I've decided that. I really like the look of them up, but I think I need to get them cut a little bit shorter just because they are in my face if I want to wear them like more out this way. But overall, like, I do really like the way they look, especially with the like cute little messy bun. I definitely think you're gonna see my hair up a lot more. I do wear it in a bun pretty much like every third day. Like, I'm too lazy to have a shower and like wash my hair, so I wear it in a bun. You just saw what the pet picked. This one is not food motivated. Lexie did suggest trying with water glasses, so maybe in the future I will try that, but I happened to be at Nick's anyways, so I was like, oh, I'll just get Charles to do it because Charles is very food motivated, as you can see. He really wanted to get to those snacks before Ralph got there. I had to feed them to Ralph. We actually tried to get Ralph to pick a book too, just for fun, and he didn't want to. I did start this. I am on chapter 5, so I'm about 70 pages into this. I really, really enjoyed the prologue, so that was exciting. It was really easy to fall back into Brian Stavley's writing. I love the humor he adds to his writing. I don't think he takes it too far, so it really works for me. I just like really enjoy his writing style, and it feels like coming home almost, which is funny because he's not an author I've been reading for a long time. Like Darcy Coates to me also kind of feels like coming home. I've read so many of her books that it makes sense to me where like I'm just starting my Brian Stavley journey. I mean, by starting, I've just binged through it. This is a standalone set in the same world as the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, which starts with the Emperor's Blades, which I read in September, binged the entire series. It will be on my favorites of the year. I loved that series. It's one of my all-time favorite series now. Now, this is a standalone. It is a prequel, but we do meet the character in the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne series, so I was really excited. This one follows Pierre. She is an assassin of this religion who worships like the death god. We see her and her skills in the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, so we know where she is by the end of this, but this follows her journey as she becomes who she is in that story. We're following her as she passes her final trial to become this assassin. Pierre is not afraid to die, but she hates to fail, and so she returns to the city of her birth in hope of finding love and ending it on the edge of her sword. It's been very fascinating to see Pierre younger and who she is before she does the things that she's about to do, because you see elements of who she is in the future books, but you also see a more innocence to her, and I think that that's really interesting. I'm really, really excited to keep reading this, so I'm gonna stop talking to you so I can do that. I am just doing Christmas minis. I am late. It is December 3rd. This vlog was supposed to be done and it is not, but we're just going with it. But I have Christmas minis for like photography today, so we're just like in the studio. I guess I could just turn around what it looks like. It's really cute. I'm here for about 5 hours taking pictures of some families and some couples. I have an update for you on Skullsworn because I'm thinking about DNFing it. I'm struggling to connect to this quite a bit, and I don't really know why, because I love the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne so much, but I just like don't care about this character. It feels like a character study, and I need more plot. Like, there's nothing really going on. I definitely like a more action-packed story. This is a little bit slow for me. I think that if I do decide to DNF, it'll be like a soft DNF, and maybe it's a me thing right now, and I'll come back to it since I do own the audio. Yeah. I'm DNFing this. This actually breaks my heart, considering how much I loved this series. I was expecting to binge this in a day, to love it, to feel all of the raw emotions I felt in this, and I feel nothing. I feel like I'm dead inside. I have gotten to chapter 10, so 136 pages of about 300 pages, so I'm about halfway, and I do not care. First off, I need to say I'm not a standalone person. The only standalone I've ever loved was Elantris. For the most part, standalones are mediocre reads for me. I find them kind of boring. Their pacing typically doesn't work for me. There's something about the smaller scope that typically does not work for me because it's supposed to be one book. And I like a trilogy. I like a quartet. I like a 5-book long series. I just find that not enough epicness happens within a standalone. Not enough depth to everything I want there to be. Not enough action and character development. I'm typically a fast-paced story lover. This is not fast-paced. This is a slow character study. And I've just realized that this year, going into 2024 specifically, I need to be nicer to myself. And I don't need to wait till January 1st to start that. I want reading to be a fun hobby. As much as it is a job for me, I need it to be something fun. And it is fun. I do love it, but I need to be nicer to myself because sometimes I think, well, it's in a vlog, I should just finish it. Or what are people going to say about me if I don't like this, but I liked this? And like, those are thoughts you don't need to have. You can just be nicer to yourself. We as society could just be nicer to ourselves in general. And maybe that starts with DNFing a book. I think it's not going to be an unhauled book. I might come back to it at some point. Maybe I'm in a better headspace for something slow paced. Maybe I want to try it physically because I have been listening to the audiobook. I don't know. But at this point, this is going to be a DNF. And I'm really honestly sad about it. There we go. Let's see if I'm allowed to get out of this house because I'm really close, but we still do need to unlock a door. So hopefully the ghosts are nice to me. Take it away, Lexie.
5, 9, 1. You've escaped. So you ended up with 4 picks. I cannot wait to see what you read for this. Thanks for playing Escape the TBR.
I did not think that was going to happen. We're a few days late, but better late than never. Thank you so much to Lexie for literally being the most impromptu phone a friend ever. I literally called her that day and was like, I need a video idea. Could you do this? And she did it. If you don't already subscribe to Books with Lexie, her YouTube will be linked down below. Not only is she one of my closest friends, but she has some of my favorite videos to watch. I think she's full of some amazing ideas. I mean, her last 20% 5-star video is so cool. And I mean, if you watched Escape the TBR, also really cool in my opinion. You can watch that every single month on her channel because she does it every single month. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh Lord, it's been a day. Christmas minis takes it out of me. It's been a day, but I love my jobs. I truly have the 2 best jobs on the planet, photography and this. It's a dream come true. We're gonna end this. If you went all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a house emoji. I actually think that there's a disheveled house, so leave me like that as like the haunted house. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day, and let me know if there's any other TBR games you'd be interested in me playing.